This isn't the beauty salon, my love. You lost as the woman passed across the hallway, one cadet chuckled. Worn green flight suit clinging to her frame unzipped. Just enough to trigger whispers from every uniformed man in the room, her boots echoed. Against the floor, drowning in stares, smirks, and scoffs from soldiers barely older than boys, another one nudged his buddy. Must be Halloween, who let the pin-up fantasy in the commissary. They chuckled like a pack of hyenas, not even bothering to lower their voices. She said nothing, not at glance, just two brown paper bags in her grip, and a calm, unreadable expression as she made her way past the line of cadetses. But the deeper she walked, the louder the jeers got. Bet she's just some officer's entertainment, one muttered behind her. Wearing that jacket like she earned it, that jacket faded olive, fraying at the cuffs, one zipper tooth missing, was clearly too big for her, but stitched over the chest pocket was a patch, the colors dulled with age, the embroidery nearly rubbed away. But it was there, a name, a squadron, and one symbol that changed everything. When the general emerged from his office, he halted in mid-sentence, his eyes fixed on the patch, his jaw relaxed as though he had seen a ghost from a long-forgotten war tale, and a red lightning bolt split a pair of golden wings. As the general, the man who hadn't flinched in 20 years of service, stood motionless in front of her, the room went silent as if a gunshot had just been fired. "Where did you get that jacket?" he asked in a low, strained voice, and she finally met his eyes calmly and steadily. "It was my brother's," she replied, "Captain Ray Monroe." Every soldier in the Black Star Squadron room tensed up, and some squinted as they tried to remember the name. One student muttered, "Blacker, isn't that?" She finished her sentence barely above a whisper, but you could feel it reverberate through the corridor like thunder as the general stepped forward. The sternness in his eyes now glazed with respect and something deeper than guilt. He flew the impossible route over the Khazar line, 7 birds down. He got 5 men out alive and died carrying the 6th, she said. Rowe was the greatest pilot I have ever trained. He had a sister who I recall from when she was younger and would constantly run around the base with a toy plane. As I grew older, she said, I joined not to fly but to serve one of the cadets. At last I said, "Wait, Mom, you're military," and she nodded in logistics. She lifted her arm slightly during a supply run at Kandahar Medical Discharge, revealing a subtle scar along her shoulder. I wear the jacket to remind me of why I started and why we all started. The cadets who made fun of her shrank where they stood, and every year I watch you all swagger in here thinking you're warriors because you can shout and run drills and you don't even know the history stitched into the fabric of that jacket. You mocked a legacy. He looked at the woman and gave a sharp, practiced salute, and I should be saluting you. She looked stunned, but returned it, and the general addressed the room, letting this serve as a lesson. One by one, the cadets began to shift, and gradually the first one stepped forward and offered a salute, no words, just a nod of remorse, until the entire hallway stood at attention, eyes forward, hearts pounding in shame and awe. The woman smiled softly, adjusted the paper bags in her hand, and said gently, "Ree used to say, courage isn't loud, it's quiet, like the sound of someone staying behind so the others can go home." She didn't ask for respect, she earned it. Before we end this story, please let us know where you are watching from. If this story touched you, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and leave a karma in the comments below. The men who had laughed at her as she passed were now moving aside like a tide parting for a ship, and in their silence was something louder than any insult: respect. When she turned the corner, the general continued to stare down the hall, almost as if seeing the shadow of a fallen comrade walk beside her.